Welcome to Just the Dis. My name is Brian. We talk about Blu-rays here and sometimes DVDs. And for this video, I'm going to talk about, for folks that are looking for movies to watch during October, some movies that are taking place on Halloween night or have a scene that takes place on Halloween night. And I don't know about you all, but I find that movies that have a Halloween scene or have that as a major part of the plot are the perfect mood setter for fall in general. And I mean, we'll start with obvious stuff. You could start with the original Halloween. Perfect fall Halloween night movie. You know, you can't really do much better than that. That's pretty obvious. Same thing with Halloween 3. Also a great Halloween movie, you know, and this Blu-ray, this 4K looks great, by the way. Those are obvious things, right? But I'm going to try and talk about some that are maybe a little less obvious. A little, but some will say these are fully obvious and everybody knows all of them, but just hear me out. I'll start with Scary Movie. This is, of course, not the comedy film. This is a film that precedes that one. It's from 1991. It is sort of a regional, lower budget horror film directed by a guy named Daniel Erickson. And I think it was shot in and around Austin, Texas, if I recall, and stars a very young John Hawkes. And in this case, Hawkes plays like a sort of a nerdy dude who is meeting some friends to go to a haunted house, homemade haunted house haunt kind of scenario. And that, by the way, is a thematic that'll run through 2 or 3 of the movies I have in this list, which makes sense because on Halloween night, that's the kind of thing people like to do, I guess. So the trick with this one is that there's an escaped mental patient who is on the loose and has killed somebody, I think, and may or may not be lurking inside this haunted house. And so John Hawkes' character is really scared of this haunted house, and I think it's partially to do with this escaped dude and also just general nervousness. And it's really effective in terms of the actual horror of it. And he's just, it says, never legitimately distributed until this very moment. Scary Movie is a joyous horror triumph starring Academy Award nominee John Hawkes. On Halloween night, big-time nerd Warren, Hawkes channeling a mix of Buster Keaton and Crispin Glover. That's interesting. Attends a spook house in a small Texas town, but is the haunted house as harmless as it seems, or as a psychotic mental patient found a new stomping ground? Shot in Austin, Texas, Scary Movie combines Argento-esque neon, Freddy Krueger dreamscapes, and slapstick inspired by Evil Dead 2 to forge Valentine to Halloween, rubber masks, and chopped off limbs. From the songs by Rocky Erickson and the Butthole Surfers to the surrealistic mood, this is a true discovery for adventurous horror heads. I agree with all that. And this is a great release from AGFA, by the way. Not only does it include the film, but it also includes some short films by Mr. Erickson, including one called Mr. Pumpkin, which is super cool, just about this little girl, and they're telling the story of the myth of this guy, Mr. Pumpkin, who may or may not come to life and kill you. It's pretty great. It's again, a perfect mood setter for October. But I just really enjoy this film, and it was hard to see except for on VHS for a long time. So this is a really great way to see it, an all-region Blu-ray from AGFA. Next, we have Haunt. Again, this is known, I think, because it was on Shudder for a long time. It may still be on Shudder, although I don't think so. But produced, as you can see, by Eli Roth, and written and directed by Scott Beck and Brian Woods, who are the co-writers of A Quiet Place and A Quiet Place 2. But I think this is a really effective, again, lower budget, but uses its budget perfectly, in my mind. Thriller horror film about a group of girls who run into a couple guys going out on Halloween night, and they end up sort of by accident at this haunted house, which is like at a warehouse in the middle of nowhere. And it's one of those scenarios where the deeper they get into the place, the darker things get, and they suddenly maybe start to realize that the people running the show maybe don't have their safety or their well-being at heart. And it starts to get pretty creepy. And I'm not going to go too much further than that, but this one I found a little bit mean the first time I watched it. The second time, it's getting more, not like it's less mean, but I found it just more effective overall. And it's got, a good cast of young people. I don't recognize too many of them, except one of them is one of the guys from Everybody Wants Some, and he's very good. But this Blu-ray came out from Ronin Flicks. There's actually a really nice special edition with a soundtrack you can get. The soundtrack's by Tom and Andy, and I didn't opt for that. It was a little too expensive, but this has a couple commentary tracks with the actors and one with the writer-directors, and making of, and a few more featurettes. It's a really nice release. And yeah, this is a good, solid, creepy, scary, haunted house Halloween movie, and is recommended. So, Haunt. And the movie that came out almost alongside that, right around the same time, was Hellfest, which is the higher budgeted, Lionsgate produced, actually produced by Gale Ann Hurd, glossier version of Haunt in a way. Similarly, you have a group of kids going to in this case, like an amusement park that's like a horror park, basically. It's like not quite Universal Horror Nights, but something along those lines, where it's like this whole expansive amusement park filled with different horror things, horror pockets. And these group of kids get like VIP passes from a friend of theirs, and they end up going there, and this guy is there to cause trouble. And I find this film, it was certainly divisive, in that I know some people hate this movie, and I was surprised how much I enjoyed it. I mean, not enjoyed, but I just think it's a cool horror film. And I know there's going to be some people that will disagree. So your mileage may vary with any of these, obviously. But this one worked well for me, and I think in part because of the two main kids, the like geeky kid who gets the tickets, and the main girl who's got like a checkered past, something in her past that she seems a little skittish about. The two of them are really good together, really kind of cute and adorable, and that helps the movie because some of the other characters are a little bit more obnoxious and annoying, but having these guys at the core is something that kind of keeps it all together. And the production design of the film, this amusement park, this Hellfest, is just amazing in terms of the production design. It's like you look at this place and you're like, man, I'd love to go to this place. It looks amazing. It looks so cool. So that helps a lot. And the killer character is he's interesting in that, like, you find out about a little bit of his backstory at the end of the film, and it's really intriguing, the setup, of that character and where he's coming from and why he does what he does. And so I don't know, this one just surprised both my wife and I, and so I always like to recommend it when I'm thinking about Halloween night movies. I was just rewatching it and I was enjoying it. It has a Thrills and Kills making of Hellfest, about 17 minutes, pretty fluffy, but it has Gale Ann Hurd, it has the cast and the director, and but I don't know, I think this is something that I will come back to, so I wanted to recommend it. Murder Party. This one does not, as far as I know, currently have a Blu-ray. This is the first feature by Jeremy Saulnier, who would go on to do Blue Ruin and Green Room. And this is a really interesting start, because it's, again, a Halloween night story. It says, on Halloween Eve in Brooklyn, an average Joe loser named Chris finds an invitation to a costume party. Arriving at the party, Chris discovers he's fallen prey to a lethal trap set by deranged artist. As the night wears on, rivalries within the group flare up, a body count accrues, and Chris must take advantage of the ensuing chaos to survive the night. This one is interesting because it's got an interesting tone that is, a good portion comedic, but definitely has an edge, a hard edge to it in terms of the violence and just some strange stuff that starts happening. But it's a great tone setter for Jeremy Saulnier's career in terms of, like, it just announces a filmmaker, and it's just really a good start, I think. And there's a great commentary and a great making of on this DVD, and you get to hear and see how Jeremy started, and a lot of the guys in this movie and gals were people that he was making movies with when he was like in middle school. Like this is a guy who's been making films on video forever, and it's just, I love those stories of people that have been telling stories this way forever, and they become successful filmmakers, and they're good. And yeah, this is just super fun. And I don't know about Napoleon Dynamite meets the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I'm not sure if that quite works, but it's definitely got some tonal funniness to it, and it's interesting. So I wish this had a Blu-ray, but it's only DVD. There is an HD version you can rent and stream online and most retailers, but I did want to pick up this DVD. I think it was at Dollar Tree years ago now, because it's a magnet release. But yeah, definitely a good Halloween night movie. A fun one, in a lot of ways. So that is Murder Party. Then we have, this would be Kenny and Company. You can't tell exactly, well, you kind of can, from the cover, because this is a Japanese import Blu-ray. The only Blu-ray of this film currently, although I really hope somebody puts this out domestically, because it's just an amazingly good coming-of-age film from Don Coscarelli, who would go on to do Phantasm and John Dies at the End, and just a great filmmaker. And this has the kid from Phantasm in it, and it's just a wonderful, wonderful coming-of-age thing, and has a great scene or collection of scenes where the kids are running around on Halloween night, making mischief and playing pranks, and gosh, it's so good. So I really, really love this movie. A little harder to see now. Again, you can import this Blu-ray. It was not cheap, I will tell you that. This does have the commentary from Don Coscarelli and a making of that was on the Anchor Bay DVD, which is now out of print. But unfortunately, it's a Fox movie, and so we know that Disney now controls Fox, and so I don't know how hard it would be to license for a label, but gosh, I have high hopes for somebody. Vinegar Syndrome, somebody, do your best. Try and license this thing, because it just needs to be out there. Again, sort of a classic that's waiting to find its classic status, because it's just so good. So anyway, I love the Halloween scenes in this, including a scene where the kids have put together a fake body that they've, stuffed clothes with I can't remember if it was newspapers or something, and they throw it in the middle of the road, and they just step back and watch as cars drive by or drive over it, and some will freak out and back up, and some hit the brakes and then take off, and one guy takes the body, just steals it, and they have to run and try and retrieve their body. So there's lots of fun stuff in this, and it's just a great Halloween night kind of movie. Just briefly, Primal Rage, which is a movie about a baboon that's being experimented on by Bo Svensson, who's a weird scientist with a little ponytail in this. Some journalist kid breaks into the lab to see if the animals are being mistreated. While in there, the baboon gets loose and bites him and infects him and makes him into this animal. He just becomes totally freaky. People get bit, look like that. And it just continues, and then they'll bite other people, and it just goes and goes. It's got a really fantastic scene at a college Halloween dance where everybody's in costume, and I love in movies when they do costume parties, and TV shows especially, because they're always incredibly immaculately production designed, and the costumes are perfect, or they're deliberately not perfect, and so this is a little mix of both. It's just got a lot of great costumes, including 3 guys dressed as skeletons that look kind of like the Cobra Kai dudes from Karate Kid, who get bit and just start tearing things up, ripping car doors off and stuff. So just got a really fun Halloween scene, and I had to throw it in there. And then just some more family related stuff. This is Fun Size. This is from Josh Schwartz, who directed it, the guy behind the OC and stuff like that. Definitely a little fluffier, but this is stars Victoria Justice from Nickelodeon's Victorious. as this girl who plans to attend this high school party. This like studly dude invites her, and then she has to watch her little brother, who is this guy who's a little crazy, and she somehow ends up at this party, but then the brother gets lost, and then they spend the night running around looking for the brother. But it is a total Halloween night movie. Like, he goes trick-or-treating, and it's cute, you know. It's a little dopey in spots, but definitely cute. And I think if you're looking for a family movie, I want to say it is PG-13, so it's a little bit there's a little bit of suggestive stuff in it, and it's a little edgier than, you know, something PG rated, of course, but I do find this one interesting, and this has some special features, making of, music video, etc. But I don't know, just one that I feel like people could be watching if they're looking for something silly and fun. Same thing goes for this. Ernest Scared Stupid. You know, not a great movie, pretty dumb. Ernest looks to help some children and with their Halloween haunted house. He ends up accidentally unleashing an evil troll that intends to bring about the end of the world, while having to deal with his useful friends and being transformed into wooden dolls by the troll. There's some dark stuff in this. Ernest looks to find a way to stop it and return his friends to normal. This will be one Halloween that Ernest and his pals will never forget. So, you know, if you've seen the Ernest movies, I still can't believe how many were made, to be honest. But this one is wacky, as it says there, and just goofy, silly fun. You know, this one's a little more kid appropriate, but definitely dumb. But, you know, dumb is okay sometimes, I think. So Ernest Scared Stupid. And then lastly on DVD, also for kids, Caspers Halloween Special. This is from 1970 something. Oh shoot, I'm not gonna be able to find it. It's only 25 minutes long, and it's maybe it's 60s, or it might be mid 70s. I can't remember. But it is Hanna-Barbera produced, and you can kind of see the animation style on the back, and it also includes the Thanksgiving that almost wasn't. So that's a nice little bonus. But, you know, it's Casper the Friendly Ghost, you know, and it says it's Halloween night in the haunted house, and at the haunted house, and certain friendly ghosts leap at the chance to experience the lights of the evening just like a real boy. Donning a simple costume and counting on his natural coloration to carry him the rest of the way, Casper sets out for some tricks and treats. The treats arrive in the form of a gang of orphan kids who accept Casper as one of the gang, but the tricks come in hard and heavy as Harry, Scary, and the ghostly gang from the haunted house set out to do their Halloween duty and scare anyone who crosses their path. And who better to bedevil than the kids who think it's cool to hang out with the sweetest specter whoever spooked. And then it talks about the Thanksgiving that almost wasn't. But, you know, a cute little classic cartoon thing from Warner Archive. Again, only on DVD. I don't think you can find it on YouTube, but maybe you could. But anyway, just a few suggestions for Halloween night movies. I'm sure you guys have seen these, but in case you are looking for some ideas, maybe there's something here for you to check out. Thank you for watching. Happy Halloween and happy fall. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.